Hey guys, Dr. 5 here with another one of our FIFA 20 player ratings predictions. This one we have got Man United. So, let's just get straight into it. Liverpool 1 and Chelsea 1s seem to have gone down quite well on the channel. So, moving forward, we will complete the top 6. I might try and do Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Barcelona, Dortmund, and then maybe just Juventus, maybe just a couple of teams spread across. And then I don't know what we'll do from there. But we've still got a couple of teams we can do. So let's move on to the Man United one. Let's get right into this. So, another point, quickly. I completely forgot David De Gea even existed. When I was talking in my previous video, I said that Ederson and Alisson and Kepa were the best 3 keepers in the Premier League. Completely forgetting David De Gea. They might have had the best 3 seasons last season, but I still believe that David De Gea is the best goalkeeper in the league. I just don't know why I completely forgot about him. Might not have had the best season last season, but the defence in front of him, it's an easy... The defence in front of him was terrible. Chris Smalling, Phil Jones, and Ashley Young. Luke Shaw was probably the only one in that team, in that defence, that does actually deserved to play for Man United. If you get what I'm saying, he's like a Man United quality player. Because he's a top quality left back, Luke Shaw. David De Gea as well. They're probably the only, of the back 5, obviously the back 4 including the goalkeeper, De Gea and Luke Shaw last season were probably the only ones that deserved to be in that squad. But obviously ratings are based off of last season. He didn't have a 91 rated season. For that reason I'm going to get him down to a 90. This could potentially go down to a 89. And maybe go joint with Ederson or Alisson. I think I had Alisson at an 88. So again, he could go 89 just to put him a bit closer. But he is... Lloris is 89 on this FIFA. I think Lloris is going to get a downgrade. I don't rate Lloris. Sorry. But he is better than Lloris. He's better than Ederson, Alisson and Kepa. Kepa's knocked him out of the Spanish first team. So, according to the Spanish national manager, Kepa is better. But again, it's based on last season. Obviously, he wasn't good last season. So again, we've put his rating down to a 90. Moving on is, I believe, Man United's player of the season last season. He won the award. It's Luke Shaw. He was a 78 rated left back last season. Based on the fact that he was their best defender last season, I'm going to give him a +2 to an 80 rated left back. It's pretty funny, actually, how he has gone from being the player of the season, last season, their best defender. After one transfer window and a couple of returns from injuries, he's gone to be their worst defender. Probably is their worst defender. Which is sad to see him. I personally don't think he should have won the player of the year. I'll move on to who I think should have won that award later in the video. But, moving on to the new signing, the most expensive centre-back defender ever, Harry Maguire. And he was very good against Chelsea. I didn't watch the Wolves game, but they did concede. But yeah, he was very good against Chelsea. He was good at the World Cup last year, and he was okay throughout the season last year. It looks as if Leicester have replaced him, though. Leicester have brought back that young... I think he's Turkish. I think he's a Turkish centre-back. I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but they've brought him back and he looked very good against Chelsea. So, it looks as if they didn't even need to buy a replacement. So that's good for Leicester. They've got money in the pocket now to spend on elsewhere. But, he was an 82 rated centre-back last season. Again, that could have an effect because of the World Cup, upping his rating slightly. But I think he did good enough last season to earn himself an extra couple of ratings, plus he's moved to one of the top 6 clubs, so there's hype around him, which I think will also contribute to a rating. So I've given him an 84 rated, making him the highest rated centre-back of the Man United team. Moving on is Victor Lindelof. He is 79 rated centre-back. We've gone and given him a +2 to an 81 rated. Again, last season he was the best centre-back. He's better than Bailly, Smalling and Phil Jones. He's very cool and calm on the ball. I think they call him the Iceman, I'm pretty sure, because he is so cool and calm on the ball. But I think he deserves an upgrade. Again, nonetheless, I think I've given him this upgrade because Sacco from Crystal Palace is 80 rated, and I believe that Lindelof is better than him, so I've given him an 81, just to kind of compare him with other centre-backs. He is better than them and them. He could go up to an 82 because I believe Mustafi is an 82 on this year's FIFA, so he could go up to an 82. He's better than Mustafi, definitely. So that is the final centre-back. Moving on to the final member of the defence, another new signing, Wan-Bissaka. He was, again, another really good one against Chelsea. Very, very, very good last season as well for Crystal Palace. And I kind of realised during that Man United games and the parts of the Wolves games, I watched some highlights and stuff like that, he is very good going forward. He is very quick. And I think people are giving him the reputation of he's not going good going forward purely based on the fact that with Crystal Palace, he couldn't get forward. He was always defending. They were always up against it, so he could never really get forward as much as he liked to. But from what I've seen in the game against Chelsea and against Wolves, he looked very good going forward. Maybe not as good as Trent, obviously, but coming back defensively, he is much better than Trent. Much, much, much better than Trent Alexander-Arnold. So there's a lot of competition at right-back position for England, which is going to be a tough one for Gareth Southgate for the Euros coming up. We've got Wan-Bissaka, Trent, Reece James, Max Aarons, all young right-backs. And then we've got Kyle Walker, who is a more experienced one. So it'll be a very, very, very interesting to see who Gareth Southgate picks during the friendlies, the qualifiers, and eventually the tournament itself. See who he goes for at right back. But, as you can see, Wan-Bissaka got an upgrade to a 76 in the winter. He was a silver card originally. And now I've given him a +4 to become an 80 rated right back. An 80 rated right back. I've given him 83 defending, because last season and the beginning of this season, his defending has been top notch. He's probably one of the best defensive right backs in the league. And he can only go up. He can only get better, really, which is brilliant to see. Moving on, let's move into the midfield. So, starting with Paul Pogba, I've given him a +1 to an 89 rated centre midfield. And this is the player I believe should have been Man United's player of the season last year. He ran the midfield for them. He scored goals. He assisted goals. He was, I think, personally, by far their best player. And for some reason, a lot of pundits do not like Paul Pogba. But the way he plays, it's nice to watch. He's just a nice footballer to watch. He can dribble for someone who's like 6'2" or 6'3". He can dribble like someone Fred's height. Fred's not that tall, but he dribbles like someone Fred's height. The low centre of gravity, he's a baller. And yeah, he missed that penalty. Yeah, he was racially abused, which is sickening. And for some reason, people just do not rate him. I don't know why. I think he's one of the best players in the league. He's one of the best players at Man United. Probably is their best player. And if they can keep a hold of him, maybe in a few seasons they could fight for the league again. I don't know. But moving on to Fred. He was a signing made by Jose Mourinho. Didn't work out. I think Fred was signed for 50 million. I think somewhere around there. And he was signed to bring in and help Pogba out in the midfield. Didn't end up working like that. He was not the best. Kind of like a Bakayoko signing. Maybe just not cut out for the Premier League. So I've given him a -2 to an 80 rated. Downgraded all of his stats. These stats do not look like 80 rated players' stats. These look more suited to a kind of 77, 76 rated player. But we will give an 80 rated purely based on the fact he's Brazilian and plays for Man United. That should boost up his rating from actually what his stats portray. Moving on is, I believe, the biggest upgrade I've done so far. Scott McTominay, McSauce. He was very good last season, coming in to this first team and kind of pushing Matic and Mata and any other midfielder really out of the squad. He was very good. He seems like a motivator because I remember I saw a clip after they scored against Chelsea, and he was, obviously they do the team huddle after they score. Everyone runs over, relay instructions, and McTominay looked like he was leading the group, which is good to see. That they have got a leader in the midfield. Pogba again, he could be a leader purely based on the fact that he is so good. That might lead people. You don't have to be shouting out loud to be a leader. But I've given him a +5 to a 76 rated. Up at his defending, his physical, and all those stats, passing. And I think a 76. Again, he could go higher. He could even push for a 78, 79 rated. I think 76 is fair. Purely based off it's only been one season. If he does it again this season, then we can start talking about 78, 79, maybe even 80 rated. So I've done a couple more players for this Man United squad, purely based on the fact that I've watched a couple more Man United games than I have Liverpool games. So we've got the starting 11, and then we've got a couple of other players that I saw last season and think should be rated differently. But moving on to the attack, we're starting off with Jesse Lingard. I've given him a +0. This could very easily be a minus, because I'm pretty sure he hasn't scored since December. He hasn't contributed to a goal since December. So he's not as good as people think he is. I think Man United fans hype him up a bit too much. I think he isn't Man United quality. I think he's only at Man United because he supported Man United like his whole life. I don't think he should be playing for him. I don't think he's good enough. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they slowly start to see him fade out of the first team. I don't think he should get picked. I don't think he should get picked. I don't think he's that good. I think they have better options in the youth team and on the bench. But yeah, I've given him a +0, a negative. Well, I've given him a no change in stats, but that could very easily be a downgrade to an 81, maybe even an 80. Moving on to Marcus Rashford. He was their main goal scorer last season. Scored the most goals for an under-21 player, I do believe, in any top league. Top 5 league, I think. I've given him a +1 to an 83 rated. He did get a winter upgrade. He got a player of the month. He got a couple of informs last season. And I think purely based on the fact that he's got those cards, EA will give him an upgrade to an 83. And I think it'll be a striker position card. And yeah, I think that's a fair rating, an 83. He had a good season, a decent season last season. Kind of slowed down a bit. He had a very, very good, I think it was December or January when he won Player of the Month. And he was very good in that. And then he kind of peaked and then slowly went down. But he's still young and he still has a lot of time. And he probably will be leading the line for Man United this season, him and Martial. Moving on to Martial though, he was another one who got a winter upgrade to an 84 rated. I've kept it at that. I think that's fair. This could potentially be a striker card instead of a left wing card. He's playing striker he's currently playing striker in real life. So it could be very easily for EA to just make him a striker card. He's got the number 9 back. He's scored twice already this season. Rashford has also scored twice this season. So their attack is looking good. It's looking good. Moving on, I've got a couple of other players. I've got 6 other players. One of which being a new signing, the others being all downgrades that I think should happen. So as you can see, the new signing is Daniel James. He was a 59 rated left winger at Swansea last year. I've given him a +15 to become a 74 rated. And his pace on this FIFA was like 70 something. It should be in the 90s. 90 might even not be enough because he is rapid. He is lightning quick. But I think these stats portray a 74 rated card. He got the big signing, which is going to give him a big boost to his rating. He plays for the national team. And yeah, I think +15 is fair. Maybe he could even push for a gold card. I'm not quite sure on that one though. He could push for a gold card. But he has scored for Man United already. He scored against Chelsea. I saw he got a yellow card for diving against Wolves, so that's not the best. But he's had an okay career so far at Man United. 2 games, 1 goal. It's good enough. Moving on though, we've got the Chuckle Brothers. Chris Smalling and Phil Jones. I've given Chris Smalling a -3 to a 78. I'll give Phil Jones a -4 to a 76. Not good enough for United. I can't remember them ever being that good. Of the two, I would say Chris Smalling is probably better. But I I don't think they're good enough for Man United. They should probably be moved on. I remember Everton came in for Chris Smalling. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said no, he wanted to keep him as a part of the squad. But, I mean, how many centre-backs do you need to be part of the squad? You've got Rojo still on the books. He's crap as well. Your only two good starting centre-backs... the only two good centre-backs of Man United are the ones in the first team. And they might have some good ones in the youth academy, I'm not quite sure. But Chris Smalling and Phil Jones, the Chuckle brothers, they're not good enough. And if I was a Man United fan, I'd be very happy that they are no longer in the starting 11. And I think these ratings are fair. They were dreadful last season. I think Man United conceded the most goals in the Premier League that they ever had. And these two were a big part of it. Moving on. Alexis Sanchez, 87 rated. Scored once in the Premier League, I think, last season. Giving him a -5 to an 82 rated. His last season and a half for him have not been good. His career has gone down very, very, very quickly. And it's just unfortunate to see because he was brilliant at Arsenal under Wenger, especially that last season he had. He was really, really good. But it's just unfortunate to see. Down to an 82. He's also getting on in age. I think he's 29, maybe even 30. So again, that will affect his rating. This is also going to happen with Juan Mata. Unfortunately for him, his age is going to catch up with him. He's not going to play as much as he will, as much as he would like to, probably. He might even move on. If I was him, I'd go back to Spain. Much slower pace there. You can... obviously, Santi Cazorla's doing good in Spain. And I think Juan Mata would do just as good. Maybe go back to Valencia, maybe. But yeah, I think Juan Mata is going to get a downgrade to an 81. And the final player in this video, Nemanja Matic, 86 rated. I think he'll get a -2. Oh, it's a -3 to an 83, not a -2. I knew I'd messed up somewhere. At least it's not as bad as the Tammy Abraham one. But yeah, it should be a -3, not a -2. My bad, I've made a mistake once again. But I think that's fair for him. He isn't quick enough, really. Since joining Man United, he wasn't as good, basically. I think Chelsea did good to cash out on him. I'm happy that we sold him. I think we got a good amount of money for him. And he will just decline from here, unfortunately. Again, it could be another possibility to just cash out now that you can for Man United. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Next episode will either be Arsenal, Man City, or Tottenham. Don't really mind what one. Whichever player... Oh, fuck. So the next episode is going to be either Arsenal, Spurs, or Man City. I'm not quite sure what one it will be, but it will be out again. Not tomorrow, but the next day. I hope you guys have enjoyed this one. If you have, please like, subscribe, and peace.